All right, seven, I think. Anyway, this one was a shorter one, and in this one I was much younger than I am today. Obviously, I am so old. But no, I was younger, and I was doing some homework, and this red-headed girl came up and essentially, well, no, she said, "Hey, if we're going to be dating, I needed to rub her leg because it was always sore." And I didn't want to date her or rub her leg and didn't even know who the heck she was. And so I felt pressured because she was so forward and assertive. So I did start rubbing her calf, and it was awkward. And then she said, "Hey, you need to rub higher." I'm like, okay. So I started rubbing her hamstring, and I was even more uncomfortable. And then she said, "Higher. Because if we were going to get married, I should get used to rubbing her glutes because they were always sore." At this point, I was very uncomfortable and thought, nope, you need one of those massage therapist people to just dig in there with their forearm or something, put a lot of pressure on it. And I'm not a therapist. I was out. Essentially, this one it goes through this fixer complex. Also gets into boundaries and exploration of boundaries and also unwanted expectations, which is obviously the theme going on for me at this point of the year. There's this fixer complex because in the dream I was younger, and it often suggested like these feelings or patterns, they started earlier in life. Where was I picking them up from, or where did I get these ideas from? A lot of these things probably come from youth. And then there was this obligation. The girl was this external pressure, a person or a job or a social expectation that I was undergoing or that anyone can undergo, right? They all show up in different ways. And in this one, it was a very forward, assertive pressure and obligation. There was the conflict in it, though. I didn't choose her. I didn't choose this obligation, but I didn't feel like I could say no. Obviously, that shows up in people's lives all the time. How many times do we get this obligation or thing that we are supposed to do at work or in relationships or in friendships or wherever you are? Obligations show up, and some of them we don't choose, but you feel like you have to say yes. So this is kind of, to me, signaling that, when we're dealing with these situations, where are we feeling conscripted into this role rather than choosing it? The fact that I was doing homework, something that I chose to do for my personal growth. They were my responsibilities. It was my work. And it was getting sidelined by someone else's immediate noisy needs. She demanded it. And there was also this moving goalpost kind of escalation in it. Her request went from the calf to the hamstrings to the glutes. And then she was mentioning marriage. It's this slippery slope metaphor that was showing up in my dream where my brain is warning me that this warning was, if you give an inch, a person might want to just take a mile. Be careful. The transition was from a sore leg to a marriage. It suggested to me, at least, that I was being afraid, or I have a fear of being trapped in to long-term commitments that I didn't actually agree to, and I needed to be weary of those. There's also the side of it with this chronic soreness as a trap. Whereas in this person claimed she was always sore. She always needed something. In dream psychology, a lot of times characters who perpetually are injured or in pain represent drains on your energy. And so essentially I was being cast as this healer, but it's a losing battle because their pain is chronic. They're always going to drain your energy. It's never going to get better. So I was very uncomfortable because I was realizing that no matter how much I would rub or try to make it better, it was never going to get better. How many things are we committed to that are there as commitments and we're just never going to get to a resolution? They're never going to actually get better because there's no way to fix the problem. So want to be weary of getting in those type of commitments that I don't make, but I feel obligated to be in. And then there was this therapist realization in there as well. The internal monologue that I had, yo, I'm not a therapist. This isn't my job. This isn't my responsibility. This was my self-preservation instinct kicking in and saying, hey, she needs a professional with that heavy pressure. I'm, acknowledging she has problems that are above my pay grade because not only do I not know her, I don't want her. I don't want this responsibility. I don't want to rub her. I don't want to try to get rid of her tension. I don't want to marry her. I don't want any of this stuff. It was a moment of clarity when I realized that, hey, I'm trying to provide a cure, but what I should be providing is a boundary. And so, in essence, this is my mind telling me, hey, stop trying to fix things that aren't your responsibility. I may feel pressured to soothe someone else's chronic dissatisfaction or soreness or whatever it is in the waking life, but this dream reminded me I am allowed to go back to my own life goals, my homework, focus on my own self-growth, be more assertive, and let these assertive people find their own help. And don't guilt me into doing it. It essentially resonated in not so much like my personal relationships. I don't have those kind of things in like real life, but a lot of professional ones and emotional ones. And there's those type of interactions with obligations that you take on that you shouldn't because they're not yours. So anyway, that was that one dream. Short one, but I liked it. It was good. All right, cool. Have a good one, guys.